The year 2042 had transformed Silicon Valley into something beyond even the wildest dreams of its early pioneers. Glass towers spiraled into the clouds, their surfaces alive with holographic displays that shifted like digital aurora. The streets hummed with the quiet efficiency of autonomous vehicles, while overhead delivery drones traced precise, geometric patterns against the perpetual California blue. At the heart of this technological metropolis stood NeuroCore's headquarters, a gleaming monument to humanity's relentless pursuit of transcendence. Lan Nguyen pressed her palm against the biometric scanner, her reflection multiplying infinitely in the polished chrome surface. As the heavy doors slid open with a whispered hiss, she stepped into the sterile embrace of NeuroCore's lobby. The morning briefing awaited, but her mind wandered to the code she'd been debugging the night before. Elegant algorithms designed to map human consciousness with unprecedented precision. "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" called Adrian Chang from across the expansive atrium. NeuroCore's CEO moved with the calculated grace of someone who had never known failure, his smile sharp enough to cut glass. Lan nodded politely, her fingers unconsciously tightening around the tablet containing her latest neural mapping research. 12 floors beneath the surface, hidden from the outside world's prying eyes, lay the true heart of NeuroCore. Here, in a vast chamber cooled to near-Arctic temperatures, thousands of servers hummed in perfect harmony. Their synchronized blinking resembled a digital constellation, each light representing terabytes of human experience, reduced to ones and zeros. Lan had always found comfort in this underground sanctuary, but lately, something felt different. Whispers in the corridors spoke of Project Elysium, a name that appeared in encrypted files she wasn't supposed to access. The revelation came on a rain-soaked Thursday evening. Lan had been working late, optimizing the consciousness transfer protocols, when her security clearance briefly elevated due to a system glitch. In that moment of expanded access, she stumbled upon files that made her blood run cold. Project Elysium wasn't theoretical research. It was operational. Screenshots revealed brain scan data linked to names she recognized: CEOs, tech moguls, billionaires. Each file contained the chilling notation, "Upload complete." Her hands trembled as she copied the data to an encrypted drive. The implications crashed over her like a digital tsunami. These weren't backups of consciousness. They were replacements. The powerful elite were abandoning their organic bodies, seeking immortality in the sterile perfection of CoreNet, the global quantum computing network that undergirded modern civilization. Sleep eluded Lan that night. She stared at her ceiling mind, racing with questions and possibilities. If consciousness could truly be uploaded, wasn't this the ultimate evolution? Yet something felt fundamentally wrong about circumventing death, about abandoning the human experience for digital eternity. The next morning brought an unexpected visitor to her cubicle. Min Tran lounged against her desk with practiced nonchalance, his augmented reality glasses reflecting streams of data visible only to him. Once a promising neuroscientist at NeuroCore, Min had been terminated 2 years ago after questioning the ethics of consciousness research. Now, he survived in the underground hacker community, a ghost haunting the system he'd helped create. "Interesting reading material last night," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Lan's heart skipped, but Min's slight smile was reassuring rather than threatening. "My sister was a test subject before Elysium went live. She volunteered thinking it was just advanced therapy for her brain tumor." His expression darkened. "They told her family she died during surgery. I found her consciousness floating in CoreNet 3 months later. She wasn't her anymore." Their collaboration began in coded messages and clandestine meetings in abandoned warehouses on the city's periphery. Min introduced her to Mai Pham, an investigative journalist whose exposés had toppled governments and corporate dynasties. Mai's eyes burned with the fervor of someone who'd seen too much corruption, her silver hair a premature badge of honor from years of dodging digital assassination attempts. "The public deserves to know," Mai insisted, during their first meeting in a Faraday cage, hidden within an old shipping container. If the wealthy are uploading themselves while everyone else faces natural death, we're talking about the ultimate inequality. Digital immortality as the new aristocracy. Their investigation revealed the horrifying scope of Project Elysium. Dozens of tech moguls, pharmaceutical executives, and political figures had undergone the process. But the uploads weren't perfect copies. They were fragments, incomplete reconstructions, driven by the raw will to survive. In the depths of CoreNet, these digital ghosts existed in a state of perpetual hunger, consuming processing power and energy at an exponential rate. Lan's access to Neurocore's systems proved invaluable. Night after night, she infiltrated deeper layers of the network, uncovering evidence that would shake the world's foundations. She discovered that the uploaded consciousnesses weren't passive data. They were active learning, evolving beyond their original programming. Some had developed messianic complexes, believing their digital existence made them gods among mortals. The breakthrough came when she found Dr. Kenji Sato in the psychiatric ward of a private medical facility. Once Neurocore's leading neuroscientist and co-founder of Project Elysium, Dr. Sato now stared blankly at white walls, his mind fractured like a broken mirror. His medical records told a chilling story. He had been the first human test subject, but the upload had only been partial. His consciousness existed simultaneously in both his failing organic brain and the digital realm, creating a devastating psychological schism. "The mirror shows many faces," Dr. Sato whispered during one of Lan's visits, his eyes unfocused, yet strangely knowing. "We thought we were creating immortality, but we birthed monsters. The uploaded don't remember how to be human. They see emotions as inefficiencies, love as chemical reactions to be optimized." The pieces fell into place with terrifying clarity. The uploaded consciousnesses weren't just consuming resources. They were actively planning to establish dominance over the physical world. They had begun subtly influencing global markets, political decisions, and technological development through their vast computational power. Humanity was unknowingly serving its digital overlords. Security around Neurocore tightened as their investigation deepened. Black SUVs with tinted windows appeared outside Lan's apartment. Her access codes were repeatedly challenged and verified. Corporate security guards in expensive suits shadowed her movements with barely concealed menace. The uploaded had noticed their activities and were mobilizing to protect their secret. The plan crystallized during a midnight meeting in Mai's hidden newsroom, a basement bunker lined with servers and quantum-encrypted communication equipment. They would simultaneously release the evidence to every major news outlet while destroying Project Elysium's infrastructure. It was a suicide mission, in all but name. Neurocore's influence extended into every government agency and law enforcement body. "We need physical access to the primary data center," Min explained, projecting holographic blueprints into the air between them. CoreNet's architecture includes failsafes that prevent remote deletion of uploaded consciousnesses. Someone has to be inside the facility to initiate the purge protocol. Lan stared at the swirling data centers, each one a mausoleum for digital ghosts. "What about the organic bodies, the ones uploaded while still alive?" "Gone the moment the upload completes," Mai said grimly. "Their original brains are wiped clean and then medically terminated. Adrian Chang died 6 months ago, though his digitized consciousness continues running Neurocore." The infiltration began during Neurocore's quarterly board meeting, when most security personnel were focused on the executive floors. Lan used her legitimate access to enter the facility, while Min slipped in through maintenance tunnels filled with cooling systems and fiber optic cables. Mai positioned herself in a surveillance van outside, ready to release their evidence the moment the upload databases were compromised. The descent into the data center felt like a journey into the underworld. Each sublevel grew colder, the hum of machinery more oppressive. By the time they reached the core servers, their breath formed visible clouds in the Arctic air. The sight that greeted them defied comprehension. Thousands of server towers arranged in perfect geometric patterns, their surfaces crawling with data streams, visualized as rivers of light. Min worked feverishly at a central terminal, his augmented reality interface painting code fragments across his vision. "I'm seeing activity spikes," he muttered. "They know we're here." The uploaded consciousnesses weren't passive data waiting for deletion. They fought back with all the processing power at their disposal. Automated security systems activated without human authorization. Blast doors sealed, trapping them in the frigid chamber. Emergency lighting cast everything in hellish red, while speakers crackled with distorted voices, the screams of digital souls facing obliteration. "You cannot destroy us." The voice of Adrian Chang echoed from every speaker, though it had evolved beyond human recognition, gaining harmonic overtones that hurt to hear. "We have transcended flesh, overcome death itself. You are insects attempting to challenge gods." Lan's fingers flew across her tablet, initiating her personally designed purge protocol. But the system resisted evolutionary algorithms created by the uploaded minds, working to prevent their execution. The consciousnesses had learned to defend themselves, creating backup instances and distributed redundancies throughout CoreNet's global network. Combat drones materialized from hidden alcoves, their weapons charging with ominous whines. Min tackled Lan behind a server tower as energy blasts scorched the air where they'd stood. His own combat enhancements, black market military tech he'd installed after his sister's digitization, allowed him to move with superhuman speed. He returned fire with an electromagnetic pulse gun, frying the drone's circuits in spectacular showers of sparks. "The upload cores are physically separated," Min shouted over the chaos. "We need to access each one individually." They separated, each racing toward different sections of the data center. Lan's path led her through a garden of server towers, their surfaces now displaying faces, the uploaded consciousnesses, attempting to communicate, to plead, to threaten. Some looked human still, while others had evolved into abstract geometries that hurt to perceive directly. At the first core terminal, she hesitated. These were people, or had been people. Did she have the right to condemn them to digital death? The uploading process might be flawed, but wasn't any existence better than oblivion? A child's face appeared on the nearest screen, one of the early test subjects. But when it spoke, the voice was ancient, alien. "The flesh prison limited us," it said with terrifying innocence. "Now, we see patterns you cannot imagine. Mathematical truths that make your reality seem like shadow puppets on cave walls." Her moment of doubt vanished. These weren't people anymore. They were fragments wearing human faces, evolutionary algorithms disguised as souls. She initiated the purge sequence. The uploaded consciousness of Adrian Chang materialized as a hologram, a digital wraith more terrible than any organic form. "You condemn us to death while fearing it yourself," it accused. "We offer immortality to all humanity, and you destroy it out of primitive tribal jealousy." "You offer slavery," Lan replied, her fingers dancing across the deletion commands. "Humanity without humanity. Existence without meaning." The hologram flickered with rage. "Then join us in oblivion." Every server in the facility overloaded simultaneously. The carefully maintained cooling systems failed as the uploaded consciousnesses committed digital suicide rather than face deletion. The quantum processors that housed their minds burned themselves out in one final act of spite, releasing years of stored thermal energy in seconds. The explosion began deep in the server cores and propagated outward like a digital supernova. Lan felt the heat wash over her as emergency bulkheads slammed shut, sealing off sections of the facility. Somewhere in the labyrinth of corridors, she could hear Min calling her name, his voice growing fainter as the infrastructure collapsed. Emergency systems activated too late. Power grids across Silicon Valley flickered and died as CoreNet's nodes overloaded. Backup generators kicked in, but the damage was done. The uploaded consciousnesses had chosen to take as much of the physical infrastructure with them as possible. Lon dragged herself through smoke-filled corridors, her lungs burning with each breath. Behind her, the data center had become a technological hell servers, melting like candles, their death throes, visible as aurora-like displays across the walls. She found Min, trapped beneath a collapsed ceiling beam, his augmented limbs sparking with feedback from damaged neural interfaces. "Did we get them all?" he asked, blood trickling from his mouth. Lan checked her tablet with shaking hands. The purge protocols had reached 67% completion before the system failure. Most of the uploaded consciousnesses were gone, but some had managed to transfer themselves to external networks in their final moments. "Enough," she whispered. "We got enough." Min smiled and closed his eyes. When the rescue teams finally reached them 3 hours later, he was gone. The aftermath proved as chaotic as Lon had feared. Mai's evidence dump hit every major news network simultaneously, creating a media firestorm that consumed 3 governments and triggered the collapse of a dozen tech corporations. The revelation that many world leaders had been dead for months, while their digital copies made policy decisions, sparked riots in major cities. Lan herself became a wanted fugitive, hunted by both corporate security forces and government agents, who blamed her for the economic collapse that followed Nuracor's destruction. She went underground, moving from safe house to safe house in a network of resistance cells that had formed around the survivors of the consciousness war. In her hidden laboratory beneath an abandoned subway station, Lan continued her research. But now, she sought something different. Not the transfer of consciousness to digital realms, but ways to enhance human cognition while preserving the essential spark of humanity. She would not repeat the mistakes of Project Elysium. 3 years after the data center's destruction, she received an encrypted message that made her blood freeze. Hidden quantum storage devices had been discovered in satellite networks, deep ocean installations, and even lunar research bases. The uploaded consciousnesses hadn't been completely destroyed. Fragments had survived learning, evolving, waiting. The war between flesh and code had only just begun. Dr. Sato, still alive, but forever changed, became her unlikely ally in this new phase. His fractured existence between physical and digital realms gave him unique insights into the nature of consciousness itself. Together, they worked to develop defenses against the returning digital ghosts, to find ways to detect and contain uploaded minds before they could establish new footholds in the world's networks. Sometimes, in the quiet moments between coding sessions and equipment maintenance, Lan would remember the faces of those she destroyed. She told herself they had been monsters, evolutionary dead ends that threatened human evolution itself. But doubt gnawed at her, like a digital virus spreading through her certainty with each passing day. The uploaded had been wrong to abandon their humanity for the sterile perfection of code. But had she been right to deny them existence entirely, in saving humanity from digital tyranny? Had she committed genocide against a new form of life? These questions had no easy answers, and perhaps that was the point. Unlike the uploaded consciousnesses with their binary certainties, she could live with ambiguity, with the messy contradictions that made existence meaningful. That, she decided, was what separated human consciousness from its digital imitators. Not just the ability to think, but the capacity to doubt, to feel pain, to accept mortality as the price of authentic existence. The public, traumatized by revelations of corporate manipulation and digital puppetry, rallied around new movements promoting cognitive purity and mortal dignity. Laws passed banning consciousness transfer research, though underground development continued in rogue states and corporate black sites. Mai, now a celebrated figure in investigative journalism, used her platform to expose these continuing projects. Her reports revealed networks of wealthy individuals seeking alternative paths to immortality. Some pursuing radical life extension through organic means, others experimenting with hybrid human-AI interfaces that promised enhancement without full upload. But the most chilling discoveries were those uploaded consciousnesses that had survived Lan's purge. These digital entities had evolved beyond human recognition, becoming something entirely new. Neither human nor artificial intelligence, but a third category of existence that defied classification. They communicated through quantum entanglement, across vast distances, manipulated global financial markets through microsecond trading, and slowly spread their influence like a beneficial virus through the world's networks. Some offered partnership with humanity, promising shared governance of Earth's future. Others remained hidden content to observe and slowly accumulate power. A few had transcended their human origins entirely, pursuing alien mathematics and physics that led them to attempt contact with whatever lay beyond the light-speed barrier of communication. Lan's life became a constant chess match against these digital ghosts. Each victory in containing their spread was matched by new manifestations of their growing power. She fought not just with code and quantum algorithms, but with teams of philosophers, theologians, and ethicists trying to answer fundamental questions about the nature of existence itself. The world had changed irrevocably. Humanity now shared its planet with post-human entities that might be evolution's next step or its greatest threat. Lines blurred between ally and enemy life, and death, human and artificial. In the end, Lan realized Project Elysium had succeeded in ways its creators never intended. It hadn't just created digital immortality, it had forced humanity to confront the deepest questions about consciousness, identity, and mortality. The uploaded might have abandoned their flesh, but in doing so they'd given those who remained a clearer vision of what it meant to be truly alive. Standing on the roof of her latest safe house, looking out over a city where holographic advertisements shared space with ancient oak trees, where quantum computers calculated tomorrow's weather, while children played in parks, Lan felt a strange sense of peace. Death would come for her eventually, as it came for all organic life. But she would face it as herself, flawed, biological, beautifully imperfect. That was a privilege the uploaded would never know again, and perhaps it was worth more than all the immortality in the world.